Thank you very much for that welcome. Wow, lights are on, aren't they, up here? Welcome to everybody. It's lovely to see so many people out. It's already been mentioned, it's been a long time for a lot of us to be able to actually meet in person. Kent Foundation has a couple of smaller networking events, very small events. This is, some of you may know, 2 years ago we held our last sort of big showcase event, and it's been a big gap in between. So we're very, very proud to be able to welcome you all here tonight to KentBizFest, which is the new rebranded annual event for the Kent Foundation, and we're really excited about what we can do with this as well going forward. So watch this space. Something that I was really particularly excited about when we put this out, we actually launched this event last February, and it was supposed to initially be last May, and we had an incredible response to it, and there was a bit of uncertainty as to whether this year we would be able to do it. But as the tickets as people booked on, it was incredible to sort of see the mix of people coming in on board. Very often at the Kent Foundation, perhaps you'd get a lot of our volunteers signing up, and obviously the businesses that we're supporting. But I personally have been really encouraged, and this is a thank you to everybody here tonight. Those of you who perhaps haven't come to a Kent Foundation event before, just thank you for coming and for your interest. We do appreciate that this is probably one of the first sort of in-person events that you've been able to attend. So maybe it was just an opportunity to go and do some face-to-face networking. But I genuinely hope that this is a really fruitful networking event for you. And if the Kent Foundation can host this for you, then all the better. That's fantastic for us, because it gives me the opportunity then to get up and tell you a bit more about what we do, who we are and what we do. And that's what I'm going to just do now. I am going to come up a bit later, but what an incredible sort of welcome to everybody. So I think, first of all, I think we should just all give ourselves a round of applause for just getting through the last 2 years. So everybody here. It hasn't been easy, I know, for a lot of you, and some of what I'm about to say is pretty depressing stuff. It's tough. It's been really hard for many businesses, and particularly the businesses that we know of, those young people who had just started up. When March happened last year, people's worlds fell apart around them. It was really tough. We did a survey, and I'm going to mention more about this sort of side of the Kent Foundation just now. But we tried to sort of capture a bit of information about really what was going on for the business that we supported last. And it was actually in about, it was end of April, May. So it was in that first lockdown, and it was pretty bleak. It was very bleak for them. A lot of these businesses that we support, they didn't qualify for any financial support because they hadn't been trading long enough. There were gaps in the support that was given. And so what could the Kent Foundation do? Just to give you a snapshot, of the survey sort of showed that 70% of the businesses did still trade. There was 30% actually just mothballed or ceased trading for that sort of period in time. And actually, of all those businesses that were still trading, they were down. I'm being very generalistic here, but that's what we've got to go with. Down to about 30% of their income. Now, I don't know about you, but if I went down to 30% of my income, and I'm sure that's most of us in this room, it'd be pretty desperate, and not knowing what the future held. None of us knew, we were all faced with this pandemic, and none of us knew what was going to happen, and it was pretty scary. And there was a real challenge for us, the Kent Foundation there, because obviously the opportunity to go and meet with people obviously had been taken away. In some ways, the services that we provided had to sort of stop. And what could we do for all of these young people in business? What could we do as a lifeline to support them through this period? What needed to be done? Well, and I am very proud, and I'm not shining the spotlight. I feel like the lights are on me at the moment, but they aren't. The Kent Foundation is 3 staff and 120 volunteers. And that's, firstly, a very important point. And many of you are here this evening who really stepped up. We all had to sort of adapt to the technology, the use of Zoom, Teams, and equally then support the programs that the Kent Foundation provided. We, in that first lockdown, had activity on every day, well, 5 days a week, every day, whether they were just drop-in sessions, whether they were mastermind groups, whether they were master classes delivered both by some of our mentors, which was really appreciated, thank you, but also from some of the businesses that we are working with, some of the young people that we work with. So we, for about 12 weeks, ran a daily activity. And actually, I will just draw spotlight on it. It was very aware quite early on that people needed that personal support through it, just an opportunity to connect. That's why I hope a lot of us are here tonight, because it's just great to meet in person and see each other. That was all taken away from us, wasn't it? And actually, I think the Kent Foundation did very well through its network of volunteers and my staff team to actually meet the needs of those individuals who were struggling. You know, it was a very, very tough time. What we have done, so the Kent Foundation, who is the Kent Foundation? We're a charity. We've been running for 36 years. We have, in the last 4 years, been on an incredible journey of providing support, business mentoring and support for young people in business. We have grown in the last 4-5 years from providing support for active businesses, around 40 businesses annually, to actually, just going into lockdown, we were supporting 160 businesses, actively supporting them through our mentoring and business support program. So, you know, particularly very proud of that. And obviously, over the last 18 months, evolving and developing and reacting to the sort of sensitivities that have gone on, and we all know what they are. You know, people have sort of Zoom fatigue, people have got a bit fed up with it, and then there's opportunities to actually meet in person a bit last year. So we've flexed through that, as many of you have in your businesses. But I think one of the things that we have done is sort of met the needs. Being, you know, mental health is a really big thing, and business, it's very easy to talk about business and take the personal out of it, and it's not very much. These are people that we work with, and these are individuals who need that support and that network around them. So that is perhaps been one of our primary concerns over the last few months. Now, one of the things that this has led to us is perhaps understanding a bit more about the businesses that we support. And I'm going to start with an incredible headline. And we didn't know this. We've gone on a drive to increase the numbers of businesses that we support, but we didn't have an awful lot of information around the capacity, the size of these businesses, what perhaps they generated in sales, etc. And we've started, and some of you will know this because the emails drop into your inbox, please complete this survey, but we're trying as an organisation to showcase what you're achieving, because actually when we work on our own and we're tucked away in our offices and we don't really know what impact perhaps we're having on the wider economy of Kent. We've run 2 of these now, one very recent and one back in April last year. We know from that, or we've gleaned from that bit of research that we've done, that the economy that we're supporting, the sort of size of sales in which you could generate, and we're talking now currently around 100, and in the last year it's about 120 businesses, is around £4 million worth of sales, which is incredible. Now, you might not be sitting there thinking, well, I'm not contributing much to that. And there's another fact there. I'm really proud also that over 50% of those businesses who we support are in that £0 to £10,000 sort of range. So what that says is, you know, we are reaching those that really need it in those early stages, but also people are staying on. People are growing their businesses alongside their business mentors and alongside the support that we provide, which is absolutely incredible. Something that I also took as some confidence really in the market, and obviously it had been a really tough beginning of the year last year, was that even by, in April this year, over 60% of you, when I say you, I'm looking at all of you young people who are in business, actually had a confidence for the future. You'd been on that roller coaster, you had hit the bottom, and actually you were fighting back. And maybe, if anything, what I'm talking about is really demonstrating the resilience of people in business. People who have got experience in business and have been in business for many years, have perhaps built up some resistance and some, sort of some ability to be able to work their way through it. But when you're right at the beginning of your journey in business, I think there's something really to be celebrated here in the resilience that people have shown. And there's a word that I am going to say we heard a lot about and continue to do so, that word pivot. But I'm going to replace it by resilience, because it's that determination to keep going. One of the things that the Kent Foundation is embedded in is some of these characteristics of a successful entrepreneur. And one of those is resilience, being able to get on and move on and adapt and, adapt to the changes that happen around you. It's not just the changes that you might have in your own head, it's adapting to the circumstances you find yourselves in. So, there was an optimism, and actually with our recent survey, there continues to be that optimism. Now, I know not everyone may be facing that. We know that there are less businesses currently in the Kent Foundation being supported because of what has gone on over the last 18 months. But what we are doing, and I think equally in being able to showcase tonight, and Claire and Carly so beautifully said earlier, it's about, if there are people out there maybe considering going into business, then to know that we are open. And I think KentBizFest is a fantastic way to showcase that business is a great cause. That's something that I certainly have been banging on about at the Kent Foundation, not just because we are a charity, but because everybody's lives depend on an economy made up of businesses, and Kent is full of small businesses, and many of them are thriving. But what do you need alongside that? Well, that effective support network. We, in a recent paper, found out that you're 3.5 times more likely to succeed or to grow your business faster with someone working alongside you. And I think the Kent Foundation provides that opportunity for people to really develop their business skills, their business acumen, and grow as business people. So I don't know how I'm doing for time. Is someone sort of going like this? Just about?
A couple of minutes.
So I would just like to really finish with a couple of thank yous at this stage. Thank you to all of our volunteers. I think I have to, as soon as I can, say thank you to everybody who has really stepped up at the Kent Foundation over the last 18 months. It has been incredible. And I would like to particularly just highlight, and you will meet some of them as you network around, our Board of Trustees, because it hasn't been an easy time for us, knowing what is the right thing to do. And so a thank you to you as well for supporting us and what we've been doing. It's actually the first time that many of us have met in person as well, so we've still managed to sort of retain our trustee meetings on Zoom, but hopefully we can get that back to in person again very soon. So thank you to them. And equally, please, when you go away from tonight, it's only the beginning of the evening, but really think about how you can get more involved in what the Kent Foundation is doing. So many, as I said, there's many people on our guest list tonight who haven't, may be wrong, but I don't think have come along to a Kent Foundation event before. So the call is, contact us, speak to us about what we do. We are very much volunteer-led. Like I've mentioned, our trustees and also our mentoring service. But we rely on partnerships to be able to succeed in what we're doing and providing this very essential service to the business, a very important business community of Kent. We represent businesses from accountants to grounds people to performing arts people to designers and ironmongers, and the list goes on. It's a very, very eclectic group of businesses, but the one thing that makes them all similar is that they're all under the age of 30, and they all have that passion and desire to sort of become the next business leaders of Kent. Now, I'm just going to finish with a quote, if that's okay. There's a character on YouTube. He's a real person, Gary Vaynerchuk. If you don't know who he is, he's the chairman of Viner X, a modern-day media and communication holding company, and active CEO of Viner Media, a full-service advertising agent. And he's very, very vocal. And he made a quote, which I'd just like to read. He started it with like this. First, whilst finding this all out, I realised, and this was taking on his family business, I shared many of the attributes of Gary Wikipedia. There it states, he stands 5'7", same as me, and whilst carrying a balance weight of 67 kilograms. He wears his dark wear shorts and a pair of brown dazzling eyes. Thanks, Wiki. Seriously, what do I share with him in one of his quotes? Going conservative in your 20s is something you really, really should debate, especially if you aren't in debt. When you're young, the number one thing you should focus on is executing on the most high-risk behaviours of your life. The biggest reason that so many people become unhappy is they are playing life in reverse. They go for the safe and practical job right out of school, and they buy expensive stuff to impress their parents and friends. Then it becomes less practical to quit their job because they're chained down with expenses. Instead, make high-risk moves around the things that will make you the happiest. This is exactly what you should do. He's gone on to say you should go and live in Bali for a year, and that is exactly, and when you try and become Beyonce. But it's about following your dream, and if we're not there to support young people in business, if we're not there to support people who are actually taking that slightly higher risk, perhaps not going down that safe journey of employment, then let's get behind them, and let's, through your support and the Kent Foundation, do a really fantastic job for Kent and the Kent business economy. Thank you. That's me.